Well, good Monday afternoon to everybody. I hope everybody is staying warm in the return of this crazy winter weather that we're having. I'm thrilled to see so many folks here with us today. My name is Kenny Tilley, and I have the honor of serving as the Vice President for Business Development and Operations for the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance. And I want to introduce a couple of folks here at the very beginning. From our staff here on site, Jessica Mugg, who is project managing and herding the cats on all this project, and one of our outstanding partners without whom this would not have happened, Nicole Boyles. Nicole is with the Oklahoma Department of Commerce, and I know she has a jam-packed schedule this afternoon, so I'd love for her to talk to us just a little bit about kind of how we got this started and how this partnership has come together to support existing business in our state. Nicole?
Thank you, Kenny. And welcome, everyone. We've got a great group of folks on our Zoom training today. I don't know about you all. I think we're all getting a little close to being Zoomed out, but we are going to try to be as quick as possible and share as much information with you in the time we have you. Well, thank you again, Kenny, for your kind words. And I want to say, so Oklahoma is the third state in the nation to roll this out. We're behind Utah, who was first, then Florida, and now Oklahoma. So I say that's definitely top 10. That qualifies under our governor's mandate that we try to do absolutely everything we can to get our economy going and to help manufacturers in our state. And I think we are actually absolutely succeeding on that front. But this, Kenny's going to talk to you about the program. Alan Davis, the person that owns the software and is the brains behind this operation, is going to show you how to use it. This is a wonderful tool to help you all shore up your supply chain, shorten your supply chain, and do as much trade within Oklahoma as humanly possible to save costs and grow Oklahoma's economy, grow from within. And we're just thrilled to be a part of this. I think when COVID hit and the pandemic, we all realized we have a lot of vulnerability due to supply chain issues for business, for suppliers, all of the above. And we started looking for a solution that would really help Oklahoma businesses not just succeed, but thrive. And I think we found it with this tool. So thanks again. I know Kenny is going to share my contact information. All of our staff at the Department of Commerce are working hand in hand with the OMA and stand ready to help all of you with any questions you might have. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you, Nicole. And honestly, this was a 50-50 partnership. It would not have happened without Department of Commerce. And this is really, truly all about supporting the companies that are already here in our state, that have invested, that hire folks, that create wealth in their communities, and providing them with the tools they need to be successful. We've got some great manufacturers on here today. I see some of our economic development folks like Scott Smith and Deb Marshall have also joined us. So I'm thrilled to be able to get the word out to communities as well as our manufacturers about this tool. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and make sure I get the right. Okay, so thumbs up. Can you all see my screen? Awesome. I want to give you just a little bit of background first. And what I'm going to do is kind of give you the lay of the land of why we got this started, why we feel it's important for our manufacturers. And then I'm going to turn it over to Alan Davis, who, as Nicole mentioned, truly is the brains behind this. His company has started this program, and we're working through all the other MEPs across the U.S. To implement this in support of the Buy America Act as well as NDAA. Our goal is to have it bought in America, preferably in Oklahoma, and have our manufacturers access every opportunity to do business not only with each other, but also with OEMs who are looking for suppliers to support what they do. So I want to give you just a little bit of background on the why and the how. One thing we realized during the pandemic is we needed to provide greater resilience for the Oklahoma's manufacturing sector. We heard time and time again from companies that were saying, I was getting materials or products out of China. I'm not getting them now. I had a company in Mexico who was sending it up. I can't get it out of Canada. So we realized there needed to be a product or a process that supported our existing companies. So we wanted them to find these new suppliers. The Oklahoma Connex became the platform to do that, as well as the NAM National Marketplace, which we'll talk about, and Alan will show you how to access that later. So as we mentioned, in partnership with the Department of Commerce and the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program across the United States, have created a database of industrial capabilities that may be drawn upon at any time of critical need. It's designed to be very interactive. You can go in and look for companies. It's a very robust search tool. You'll find it to be incredibly robust, and it's open to all manufacturing enterprises. So the companies that have already been placed on there, and we're going to ask you to go in and fill in your capabilities and all of your information. It's just manufacturers. It's searchable by industry as well as NAICS codes. So we're allowing those folks with NAICS codes appropriate to manufacturing to be listed on the site. And it's also allowing organizations to create opportunities to search products. If I need a product, I can go in and look for specifically that and find the company that has that capability in our state and do business with them. So what we are creating through Connex Oklahoma is a statewide manufacturing supply chain solution. It is free of charge. I cannot stress that enough. Never will be a charge for you as a manufacturer to use this service. We'll talk a little bit about how you access the NAM platform and why we're going to encourage you to sign up for that in the next couple of months. But Connex Oklahoma is a free service solely to help manufacturers. It creates that network to really streamline those critical connections between Oklahoma manufacturers and make sure that they're all talking to each other. We've already had in the first couple of days a success story from a company who said, you know, I got on Connex immediately within the first 48 hours and found a supplier that is 25 miles from my manufacturing facility. I was buying this product from Asia. I'm now buying it from an Oklahoma company, and that is absolutely what we're after. It will create a fast and efficient search for advanced materials and manufacturing products, processes, and services. Then Alan's going to talk a little bit about how you'll access that national manufacturing marketplace and how that can just open up an even greater world to you. He's also going to demonstrate how you can visualize your supply chain, look for weak areas in your supply chain for any potential hotspots that might be sole source suppliers or any that might not be companies that you really want to do business with. But he's going to demonstrate how that in a little more advanced way of getting your information on there and putting your suppliers on there, you'll be able to utilize some national databases that will help you identify where you might have some weak areas in your existing supply chain. It allows you to look for buy local. Again, as we do the demo, you'll see how you can search locally. You can really drill down to, I want it in this city, no more than 25 miles from me, with these capabilities so that you can identify who are the makers in your neighborhood, who can you do business with, who within our state borders is a great opportunity for you, not only as a supplier, but you may be looking through to determine who could be a new customer for you as well. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Exchange Center. This is a great area for you to post or respond to RFPs. If you have a need, you can go in and post that RFP in there and say, I need to find someone who has the ability to make this widget, who has an autoclave, who can do CNC work, who's certified in these areas. You can be very specific about what you want, or additionally go in to look to see what RFPs or RFQs are posted there. We'll also talk a little bit later about the opportunity to connect with OEMs who have, as we all know, have set-asides to work with small business. So we want to make sure that you have access not only to other companies in the state who are looking, but companies like Northrop Grumman, Boeing, NASA, who are looking to find those suppliers and vendors in our state who can do business with them and satisfy that small business set-aside need that they have. It will allow you to post or browse all kinds of information on supply needs, capacity available, or potential resources for your company. So how do you get on Connex Oklahoma? That's where Jessica comes in. What you'll do, and she's probably going to post it in the chat so you can see it as well, you'll request access to your account. Just know that we have already loaded a great deal of information on Oklahoma manufacturers on the site. So all we're asking is that you go in to your company information and fill out as much information on as you can. And we'll do a quick demo of that later so you'll be able to see truly how easy that is. And it's up to you how shiny and pretty you want to make your company so that you're attractive to other companies to do business with. And we really encourage you to get in there and fill out that information as quickly as you can and as fully as you can. So you'll have access to your site after you request that information from Jessica. Go in and immediately, I do ask that you go in and update your contact, the key people in your organization, certifications, what industry sector do you work in, and any capabilities that you have. We'll talk a little bit later about capabilities, and I believe Jessica will be able to provide you with some examples of capability statements that you can use for your company. I want you to understand this information that you fill out and you really elaborate on your site is only available to be looked at by other manufacturers. I know Alan's going to show you just the frontward facing that you'll be able to see, but he's also going to show you how you can make that information fuller, more robust, but it will only be seen by other manufacturers. And this is not a slam on any way, shape, or form on salespeople, but this is not a place where the Aflac salesperson or health insurance salesperson or whatever would be able to come in and troll through your companies and get a hold of you. All the information those people might see would be very generic. If they Googled you and just found where your company is located and your main phone number, that's about what they would see. Only manufacturers will be able to see you and to connect with you. Again, free to use. We're going to talk a little bit more about the national market base, which is over 140,000 companies for you to access. And that is also free, but we're going to ask you to sign up for it in the next 2 months. So by the end of May, make sure you have signed up for that national marketplace because that is another free opportunity for you. So we have already loaded over 4,000 companies into this site. So your information is most likely already there. We do ask that you, once you get your access from Jessica Mugg, go in and verify your company information. Just go through, we'll show you how to do that here in a few minutes, and make sure that everything is correct. Make sure you haven't moved. Make sure you don't have a new phone number. Do go in and assign the primary employee who's going to be your admin for your page so that that person has, if we need to send them an email or if we need to get information to them, that their information is on there. I encourage you again, sign up immediately for that national marketplace. It's free for the next 45 days. So take advantage of that because free is everybody's favorite word. And start determining that your capabilities are a match for your customers. Make sure you fill out as robustly as you can all the information on your site. It will get you customer ready in a very short fashion. Understand that the information on your site, as you put in confidential information, will always and only be seen by you. That there is a section in there where you can fill out some confidential information that's mainly for your own use. If you want to look at that visualization we showed you earlier of what your supply chain will look like, that will be confidential to you. No one else will see it but your company. It is kept confidential. It is audited by I-5 so that even if we as admins were to go in and look at it, we would be notified that someone had looked at that information. So rest assured, we're keeping it very, very secure. Anytime it's accessed, it's audited and we hear about it. So just understand that. It's a very simple process. I cannot stress this enough. Apply to Jessica, get your access, go in and update your company information. Each company must request access to their page. Each company has to go in and verify and update their company information, so just make sure you do that. Each access request from a company is merged individually if they have an existing record. So if you ask for that, then one individual goes into that company. If for some reason you get into the site and you see that we have created a duplicate record, I see Dave Young sitting there. If we go in and find out there's 2 Dave Young companies, somehow we've created a duplicate record, Dave, you let us know, we'll take care of it for you. So Very simply, you can connect with us and get that access request, connex@okalliance.com, or go to the OMA website, okalliance.com. If for some reason you forget about this, feel free to reach out to us. We'll make sure that you get connected. You'll also, just as a reminder, be able to access these training that we're doing right now. You'll be able to access on the OMA website. For some reason you want to go back after we've done this and say, I really need to look at that part again. I wasn't quite sure what Kenny was talking about, or I missed something that Alan was talking about. Just go to our website and you'll be able to access that training and watch through all again. So if you have any questions, I want you to make sure that you get this information right here and that you reach out to us, because it's very important that you be able to connect with us and get that information on how to get your record started, how to get your website or your site filled out, and get all the information in there so you're customer ready. We want you to be selling to each other and buying from each other as much as possible. Right now, I am going to turn this back over to truly the brains behind the organization, which is Alan Davis. Alan is with I-5. He's helping us get this up and running. And as we do so, he's already been working with the state of Utah, the state of Florida to do this. And so we're very excited to have this program within OMA and within the Department of Commerce for our manufacturers to use. So Alan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate it. And thank you all for being on with us today. Really appreciate your time. And we want to make sure that this is as informative as possible. And if you have any questions at all as we go through, please feel free just to unmute, ask the question. We'll make this very informal. I will go through the functionality application. So hopefully by staying with us today, you'll have a good understanding of how to get the most use out of the application, how it can best benefit you and your organization. And there are a number of ways in which that happens. So we'll try to hit on those as much as we can. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we'll get right in here. All right. So you should be seeing the Oklahoma Commerce site. Is that correct? Someone give me a nod. Okay, great. So I landed here first because I want you to know there are a number of different links. Kenny shared those with you in the PowerPoint. If you forget, just go to the Oklahoma Commerce site under Doing Business, and you'll see the link here to OMA's website. And OMA's website, there's a Connex Oklahoma right in the center here. And there are the links here that you can click to get to request your account and to also access Connex. In case you forget where that link might be, you can just navigate to the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance website, and that'll get you there. So once you get your access, and we want to jump straight into Connex Oklahoma. I am actually logged in to Connex Oklahoma right now. Those who don't have access or don't have a login will not see as many options here. And if we have time at the end, I'll come back and show you what that view looks like if they're not logged in. But since all of you are manufacturers or here representing manufacturers, wanted to make sure you understood from the manufacturing perspective what's available to you. So first off, when you log in, you'll see a number of options across the top. And I'm going to draw your attention initially just to this search bar. One of the primary features that will be of some value to you is when you're looking for another manufacturer of some kind. And the search is very simple, similar to what we all have become accustomed to with search engines that we use. And you can type in any term that you might be searching for, and it quickly returns in less than a second the relevant results. And you'll notice that that search term is found in a number of different fields, and I'll show you what those fields look like in just a moment. But in a name field, a NAICS code field, a description field, and an SIC code field were initially identified the word metal. And roughly 730 companies were returned. As Kenny mentioned before, once I have an initial search completed, and by the way, If you ever have questions about how to get more out of your search, how to expand searches, how to do more complex searches, or even just how to use some basic functionality of the application, I draw your attention to the little question mark next to the search box here. There is a getting started guide. There's what's new. So as new functionality comes into the application, you'll find that there. Their privacy and terms are also there, frequently asked questions, and wait for you to contact support. So if you just have a question or having a concern, you can quickly come to the contact support and get help there. So I will come down now, and now that I have a set of results of something I may be looking for, I draw your attention now to the limit by distance. So as you open this option, you can limit the companies that you see by distance from your facility or from a specific location if you want to put in a specific location, and you can set the distance that they might be from that location to kind of narrow down into a geographic type search. Also over here on the side is a little filters button. As I click that, you'll see I can also narrow down my search results with all kinds of great filters. There are a lot of applications that have kind of spoiled us with filter options. And so we find those here as well that are helpful to us if we want to narrow it down by city or zip or county. Those are some additional geographic filters that allow us to narrow down in by geography. And then a number of others as well by type of business or by industry sector or by a specific certification or an SBA program. Maybe I just need to find, some hub zone company or companies or veteran-owned companies or whatever the designation may be. By equipment or materials, by NAICS code or SIC code. And all those filters you find here, which allow you to narrow down your search and find just those companies that you're looking for specifically. Once you find a company that seems interesting to you, as you click on them, it opens up their profile. And there are really 3 tiers of data that you'll see in a profile. This first tier is what's called the public tier. And this is the type of information you would typically find on a company website. And so it's searchable by anyone. And it includes things like a description of your company, the type of organization that you might be. If you have some related organizations, you can put that information in. And again, you can choose how much of this you put in, that determines how much people have access to. Contact information, if you want your main contact information here. Maybe you have a key person that you want to have available as a contact person for maybe a salesperson or someone like that, that may be a key person for your organization. A place for a capability statement, and I will highlight capability statements in just a few moments. But the capability statement is really a wonderful way for you to upload additional information or keywords about your company that you may want to have people find you by. And I'll just give you a note here that when you upload a capability statement, it is indexed in the database. And so any term that is found in that capability statement is also searchable through the search bar up here. So if the word metal was in this capability statement, then this company would be returned with the capability statement. The word metal in the capability statement as well as anywhere else in the profile. Certifications and qualifications, including the SBA programs, NAICS and SIC codes, and that rounds out the publicly available data. Again, it's great to make sure that people are able to find you with some of that kind of general type information. Where the greater amount of value typically comes in for most manufacturers is exchanging more detailed data with manufacturers. So that's the member only data. In order to get access in, you have to verify that you are a manufacturer. And those requests go to Jessica, and she'll be approving companies and ensuring that only manufacturers are in the member only section. As you receive access then to edit data in the member only section, you'll see that there are a number of areas of information that you can add that will be searchable by other manufacturers. And that includes your industry sectors, some key people that you may want to have searchable by members, but not by the public, products and services you offer. Again, capability statement, if you'd like that to be visible to just the manufacturers. materials that you use, equipment and processes, employees, capacities, production floor space, really wonderful information that will help you be found by others who are looking for your capabilities. To give you a feel for just how easy it is to add data, I'm going to go ahead and click on this update equipment. You'll notice here you find a list of equipment and processes. And as you click on it, there's additional detail for many of the items that are on here. If you don't find exactly the item that you were wanting to add, there is a section for other down here. And so that you always have a space where you can add equipment and processes and things that you do. So also over here on the side, once I click in here, this is all the different data points that I've shown you as we've gone along. This was the basic description that you saw at the very top and the public profile. And that continues on down through the bottom end of this data, which it's actually found in the last tier of data here. And this tier of data is a confidential tier of data, which means it can only be accessed by you and people in your organization that you give access to. So you and your employees, and even with that, you can determine who within your organization has the rights or the role to be able to access this type of information. And it includes your customers and suppliers. And the reason there's tremendous value in that, I'm going to jump over and actually just show you, because I can't show you anyone's data in this section. What I can show you is a visualization of a demo company. So this is what the data will look like once you upload it. This is a visualization of a supply chain with, as you notice the legend down here on the right, customers in yellow on the right, suppliers in green on the left. There's a lot of different ways that you can analyze your supply chain. And you'll notice up here some filters. So I could filter and just look at my customers or just my suppliers or just those in state or out of state, or just some maybe specific types of suppliers who supply something very specific to me. So a lot of different ways that I can narrow that down, can save my view. All these things can be moved around, manipulated so that you have a lot of options for being able to really get in and analyze your supply chain. I'll draw your attention to those that are flagged. So outlined in red here are some flagged items. So I'm going to, or flagged suppliers. I'm going to click on the supplier here. And we find out that this one was flagged because there's a blacklist alert. What that means is that supplier matched to, or potentially matched to, a blacklist or watch list company from either commerce, treasury, state, or military. And when I click on the link here, I can get some additional information about what that means. Tell me about the alert. It tells me that it found a potential match on the SDN list from the Treasury Department. It'll give me links directly to the Treasury Department website so I can get more information about it there. It'll give me aliases the company operates under, addresses that they use. So very quickly you can assess whether or not you may have some risk due to a blacklist or watch list company. Another type of risk that is identified here is single supplier risk. And in this case, it's identifying that you only have one supplier that's supplying this particular material or product to you. And if you're looking for maybe some alternates, you'll notice this find alternate button here. And the system will actually go through and it'll identify potential alternate suppliers, the distance they are from your facility. They'll give you links directly to their profile so you can then get additional information about them and be able to determine if you have a good alternate supplier that you might want to engage or to do business with. Tremendous amount of value in this. We've been working with the Air Force at identifying the top risk areas in the supply chain and providing tools and solutions to help companies be able to visualize and see that risk in their supply chain and be able to take proactive actions to mitigate the risk. And so those are just a couple of areas in there. There's also detection for some relationship risk, financial stability, and other items. And you'll see this continue to grow and expand as we continue our work with the Air Force and others who are helping us to identify and understand ways in which we can effectively measure and flag and mitigate the risk in our US supply chain base. Again, this is only visible to you and to your organization, so it's a tool for you, and it has a tremendous amount of value to those who are assessing supply chain and possible risks and concerns in their supply chain. So I'm going to come back now.
Alan, before you move
yeah.
on, we did have
Yes.
a question.
Great.
In the chat, how is it identifying single supplier risk? Are manufacturers providing the specific items being purchased from each vendor?
Yes. So when you come in, you have an option to upload your suppliers and to add additional information about them. So, for example, I clicked on this one here. It says, what does this organization do for you? You can indicate, for example, their equipment designer or provider, and you come in and you say, well, maybe they provide me autoclaves and chillers or whatever it happens to be. That information, then the system is able to go and find other providers of autoclaves, chillers, who could be potential alternates for you. That's just kind of a quick example, but that's a little bit of a view into how the system is doing that behind the scenes. Did that answer the question? If I have not, whoever asked, please feel free to unmute and ask some additional detail or drop some more in the chat. And thank you, Jessica, for dropping in there and let me know.
Absolutely. And yes, the question was answered.
Great.
How would that be mapped? Is that mapped by description or?
Meaning on the map here?
No, like I'm assuming you're gonna dump like a bomb into here or something, right? Into this tool, be able to formulate this chart. But how are the parts themselves mapped?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So when you upload the data, is that am I understanding correctly? So when you upload the data, how does it get mapped to the right places?
Right, alternate,
Okay.
the correct alternate suppliers and such.
Yeah. So as these suppliers are uploaded, so again, there's an option here for creating a new supplier, which will ask you these questions as you create that new supplier, or to import new suppliers, which is a CSV upload. And it has a format there for you so that you can add that information in on upload so that the correct fields are populated that allow us to do that logic behind the scenes.
Got it, thank you.
You bet. Other questions about the visualization? Okay, wonderful. I'm going to come back now to where we were over here in Connex, Oklahoma, and I'm going to take just a slightly different approach here, and I'm going to move to what's called the Exchange Center to show you another area of value to manufacturers. So hopefully, as we're going through, you can see all the reasons why it's so important to get your data in there and to have it be accurate so others can find you. And there are a lot of people who are searching through the Connex and manufacturer marketplace platforms. Oh, I forgot to show you that. Let me step back one moment before I go into Exchange Center. So if I run my search here in Oklahoma, and maybe I don't find exactly what I'm looking for, maybe I've limited down, I've looked at the companies, can't find exactly what I'm looking for, I have this option to expand the search to the national marketplace. When I click that link, what it does is it actually takes my search and it runs that for me in the national marketplace. So there's about 135 to 150,000, maybe more US manufacturers now in the national marketplace. Again, you have filter options. You can filter down and get to just the exact kind of company that you're looking for. One note about that, and Kenny brought it up right at the beginning, and that is typically there's a charge to do the expanded search nationally. The National Association of Manufacturers and our company have a partnership on that platform, and we've agreed that for the first 2 months during the launch of Connex Oklahoma, any Oklahoma manufacturers who come in and click that button. It'll take you to a registration page because you have to get registered for the national marketplace. And that registration page will allow you to have free access, and that's free forever access to the national marketplace if you come in and get registered before the end of May. After that time, OMA will still have a discount code that will be available through this same link that will get you in for about $500 a year. Normally it costs $2,500 a year to access the national marketplace, but it is truly a tremendous opportunity for Oklahoma manufacturers between now and the end of May to get in free forever to the national marketplace. That means annually, instead of having a renewal, you get a free renewal every year. After the end of May, then again, you'll get that promotion code, and that'll lock you into that $500 a year price. So whichever way you prefer, but it's definitely worth taking the time to get in and getting registered before the end of May. Okay, so now moving over to the Exchange Center. The Exchange Center has a couple of different areas of functionality. The first one is a surplus materials, and it's a place to exchange surplus materials. I'm not going to focus on that one today so much. There's some additional options that will be coming into Connex Oklahoma, where our manufacturers in some of the other states have been very generous at helping some of the education institutions with surplus equipment and materials. And that exchange center for surplus has really benefited them. That functionality, we don't have the education institutions in Oklahoma in here yet. So that option is not fully there. But if you're exchanging with other manufacturers, it certainly is, and you're welcome to use that functionality. I'm going to focus on the needs section though. This is where you can post an RFI, an RFP, an RFQ, or just a basic need that you might have and get some feedback on that. So this is a demo post, and you'll see the type of information that is put in here. It was loaded as an RFQ, it has a basic description, has some restrictions here. This one's an ISO 9001 restriction. And has some contact information. There's also an attachment here where you can get some additional information through the attachment. I'll go ahead and click there. And you can see that attachment will come up and provide whatever information's been provided by whoever's posted. So I'm also going to go into the editing of it to show you that when you post something, if you have a need, again, you come in and select the type of post that you're creating. But after you've put it in, there's options for distribution. And what this means is the system will automatically go and notify companies that meet the criteria for your distribution list. So for example, let's say I just wanted to send this to small business or small disadvantaged businesses, or maybe HubZone or veteran owned, or maybe a couple of them. This is where I would come in and I would build that criteria that said, hey, here are the companies that I would like to send to. And then the system, when you complete that functionality, or you complete that distribution list, you can also manually select companies if you know of some that you definitely want to have notified. You hit send and it will go out and notify those companies. Again, I would put a plug in here to make sure that your information is accurate and up to date in the system so that you are notified when others are putting posts into the Exchange Center. And then it'll keep history or track of who's been notified, how many organizations, how many people within those organizations have been notified, so that you know who it's been sent to. It'll also show you the criteria that was used or built and to send, so that you have an idea of who it's been sent to already. You can come back and resend a little bit later, and it won't resend to the same organizations, just to new ones who may have joined since you sent last time. So that's yeah, go ahead.
Here, so is it going to show us the contacts or send automatically through the system? And I ask this question specifically because if I see certain manufacturers that I have not worked with, I would need to implement an NDA prior to sending them documentation.
Yes, so Let me respond to two things there. First, you won't see necessarily the list of all the companies that it sends to. It does that automatically through the system. However, one caution that we always give is if you have, we call it CUI data in aerospace defense is what they call it. But if you have sensitive data that you don't want viewable by all those particular companies in there, we would recommend first posting as an RFI without that kind of information in, making the connection, and then sending an RFP or RFQ to that company that you made the connection with. And I'll go through that again in just a moment. I'll give you an example of a current post from Northrop Grumman. In fact, if there's manufacturers on the call today who can fulfill the needs of this post, I would encourage you to respond to it, and I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. But did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right, wonderful. So coming back then, I'm gonna jump back over here to the post. There's also a button down here, and this is only on my screen, the notify partners. It opens up some functionality that you have access to, but not necessarily by or through the system. And I'll show you what I mean by that by going to a Northrop post that's active right now in Utah. So this is a post that they created with us back in January. And they said, you know, we want to notify everyone in the database, but we also want it to go nationally. And we would like to run an event with it, meaning that they wanted to have us engage all of our partners to help find manufacturers who could fulfill this need. And so so first off, we went in and helped them with the post. So if you would like to run an event at some point, just contact Jessica, by the way, and she'll get you more information about it and more details. And there'll be a training upcoming on how to do this. But they came to us and said, look, we need to find a machine shop with a vertical turning lathe that can mill parts 30 to 80 inches in diameter, that also has internal welding capability in their shop. And then they went through and provided some additional detail about what the welding was, or what specifications they needed on the welding. And they also included some restrictions saying the company must be AS9100 certified, JCP and ITAR. They must be able to demonstrate at least some current effort toward their CMMC, and they have to be familiar with the FAR and FAR requirements. And we captured all that information. We went ahead and created a notification through the application, and we notified companies. In this case, this post is currently in Connex, Utah. It's been replicated to Connex, Florida, as well as to the national marketplace, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. But then once they were notified, we also then reached out to our partners, and we have well over 100 partners across the country. And we let them know that Northrop Grumman had a post in here and that they were looking for these specific things, and asked that they would help us identify qualified suppliers to come and respond. So as a manufacturer, as you open this up, there'll be a button that shows up for you down here, right where my notify partners button is, that says respond to post. And you would click on that and say, hey, I am qualified. These are companies who have responded to the post in Utah. And I'm actually just going to click into one. The buyers are able then to very quickly see everyone who's responded. They can come in and view their profiles. I am going to show you their capability statement, because this company opted for a more robust capability statement. Sometimes a capability statement can just be a couple of sentences or just some text. In this case, they have a PowerPoint they've turned into a PDF with loads of information in here. And again, all the information they put in here and uploaded is now searchable through the application. So if anyone happens to be looking for, let's say, an autoclave as an example, this company is going to be found because the word autoclave is in their capability statement. So it's a great place for you to put all kinds of keywords, other things that you may want to be found by. So once we started gathering qualified suppliers, Northrop said, look, we would like to do an hour's worth of interviews a week with qualified suppliers. We want them to be half-hour interviews. and we want to interview for the next 8 weeks. And this started in January. So roughly 16 qualified suppliers is what they were looking for. And so we reached out to our partners and we began to get our qualified suppliers into the system and their information in there. And then we sit down with them and we review the company's profile. So we've gone through this entire profile with the buyers. They're able to see all the equipment and processes, the details, the capability statement, everything, and tell us, you know what, that's a company that we would like to interview. So they select who they want to interview. And we set them up on the day of the interview. Then we create a virtual room where we put the buyers, and the first interviewee goes in and has their half-an-hour interview with the buyers. And the buyers then can decide if they want to continue that relationship by issuing an RFP or RFQ, because at this point in time, it has had to be posted as an RFI. And I'll just give you a quick bit of information about how that's been going. First off, the buyers are absolutely thrilled. They said this is the first time ever that they've been able to just sit down and interview qualified supplier after qualified supplier, and that we have been doing all the work for them, trying to find these qualified suppliers that they have been wanting to find and do business with. And we've been able to do it all over the country. The first 2 interviews, by the way, ACT Aerospace was the first company that got an interview spot, and they received an RFP within a week of that interview. The second one was Parametric Solutions, and I'm actually going to jump over into the national database to show you what the post looks like in the national database. So here it is replicated up to the national database. It's the same post. The formatting is a little bit different in national than it is in the regional, but you'll see here are the companies that have responded. This Parametric Solutions was the second interview. They have already received a PO from Northrop, and Northrop has actually issued now 4 or 5 RFPs, RFQs from the interviews that they've been doing, and they've extended the interview time now through the end of April. So if you have these capabilities or you know of another manufacturer who does, please let us know. We're happy to line up an interview with Northrop buyers for you. They intend to do business with many, if not all, of the manufacturers that they're interviewing, because we've been bringing them the right kinds of manufacturers, the right kinds of suppliers that they're looking for. And so it's just been a tremendous way of being able to connect the buyers to suppliers. So again, if you get in here, get your information up to date, those opportunities you'll see in the Exchange Center. You'll get notifications of new ones that are being posted. And by the way, I can share with you, we just did a training with NASA yesterday at the first NASA center that will be putting posts in is the Marshall Space Flight Center. And so some of those posts you'll start seeing over the next few weeks coming from them. We're working with a half a dozen additional primes as well. So if you do any work in aerospace or defense or aviation, any of those areas in particular, those are some of the first organizations that are jumping in using the Exchange Center. We have one of the Air Force bases that's also going to be posting. And when we post to the Exchange Center in the other states and in the National Exchange Center, we will also begin posting into the Exchange Center here in Oklahoma. So with that, I'm actually going to pause here because I know I've given you a lot of information really fast. I have not been able to keep an eye on the chat. So Jessica, I've been counting on you to do that part. But if there are any other questions, let's just pause and see if we can answer them now.
Ellen, I do think that's really good information. It's not so much a question as a comment. You know, you mentioned the fact that folks like Boeing and Northrop Grumman and NASA and the Air Force are all looking to these platforms as a way to connect with companies with whom they can do business. So that's very exciting to see that. And I know that you had told us the story about Northrop Grumman's folks that were very hard to get in touch with, very hard to connect with, that The Boeing folks were also very hard to connect with, and this is allowing a quicker connection for small companies to these purchasing units within these OEMs for a way for our small companies to get some contracts and hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and I'll share one other thing. The small business liaison officer that I'm working with at Northrop said, usually it will take someone 3 to 6 months to get into these buyers if they can get into them at all. Some of the companies that we've talked to have said, we've been trying for years to get into these buyers. We've never been able to get to them. And in a matter of minutes, you connected us directly into them and got us the interview. So I will tell you, it is getting people directly to the buyers. And it's not just aerospace defense. I mean, we've got furniture company right now that we're working with who's creating their first post. And anyway, it goes on and on. It's all sectors. And if you have needs, this is an absolutely incredible way to find specific suppliers that you need. And I would highly, highly recommend it. At least try it so that you can see what it can do for you, because those events have been tremendously valuable.
There's nothing more than that we would love is to see a lot of our small manufacturers find opportunities with the OEMs and to get some good solid contracting that can last them for many, many years. So I think that's an immense opportunity that's being provided for our state. I know we have some economic developers on here, and I know they are here to help manufacturing companies get hooked up with this site to get their capabilities, their information all loaded in there. Do we have any additional questions now? I know, Jessica, you've been monitoring the chat for us. Do you have any additional information you'd like to share with us as well?
No questions at this time, but I did want to let everyone know, I put it in the chat, but we will be hosting additional trainings as this portal launches. We will be hosting trainings over how to utilize the supply chain visualization tool, crafting a capability statement, as well as posting and responding to RFIs in the Exchange Center. So please be watching. We're going to continue to educate, roll out information to you all on the portal. Also, following this event, we will be supplying you all with a recording of this event, as well as how to request to log on and get into the portal, as well as how to connect to the national marketplace, and a few other pieces of information you'll want as well as you get into utilizing Connex Oklahoma.
Well, I want to make sure before we break up our meeting today, if we have any additional questions for Alan, he is indeed the brains behind all of us. So we have a rare opportunity to get some insight from him. If anybody has any information that they need from him, if you, in the next few minutes or even few days, if you come across questions that you have about the platform, need additional information from us, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are thrilled to be able to partner with the Oklahoma Department of Commerce and offer this platform to manufacturers to give them an opportunity to grow and strengthen their supply chain and to continue to grow and thrive in their business. So I want to end by thanking everyone for their time today. I know everybody's extremely busy. Got a lot of good things going on in our state, and this is just another one of them. Please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help in any way we can. You can go onto the OMA website or onto the Department of Commerce website and connect directly to get access to the site and request access to your company page. So thank you, Alan, so much for being here today. I want to thank all of our economic development partners, especially the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. Without them, we wouldn't be here at this point. So I appreciate their support and efforts in this. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everyone. And we look forward to helping you get signed up for this and helping you be customer ready.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time today.
Bye-bye.
Thanks all.